I have the worst duo. In fact, they just basically they basically debuted, I think, just a day or two ago. I'm not going to pretend like I watched the whole video or even that much of it, and I have yet to sort of comment on it, but it is Dave Rubin and Bobby Kennedy sitting down, and the Rubin interviewing Bobby Kennedy and them palling around with each other. I found that really
like who does the RFK team think that Rubin is relevant? Like, is that
all right? Well, I mean, well, yeah, that is, it's mystifying why at this point he's going on there with with Rubin. I will say also too, I should say, I used to do a radio show with Bobby Kennedy for years.
I know you incepted this entire run,
and that is not true.
Sure.
But that is no. But it's really disturbing to see, for me, the change in his politics, and also just sort of like everything associated with what he's doing, frankly. But it is total mystery as to why. Like, when he first started his campaign, he went on to all these right-wing shows.
Yeah.
And I think part of it was, well, they're running in the Democratic primary. Maybe this is the only way to get the name out there. I think Bannon and Roger Stone were very supportive of like the idea that Kennedy could embarrass Biden, maybe. Ultimately, it turns out he didn't have much traction in the primary.
He's not even on the ballot. He's on the ballot in one place. Is that correct?
Well, he's on the ballot in Utah, I think, but he's submitted signatures in Nevada. I think he's going to end up. I mean, look, the reason why he chose his vice presidential nominee is because she's a billionaire. And she had already given $4 million, I think it was, for his ad that ran on the Super Bowl. $4 million.
Yep.
And so she has the money that can get him on the ballot in probably at least a half a dozen states. And we're going to know more in the coming weeks. But I think he'll be on in at least 2 or 3 of the swing states. And so he's going to be, he has the real opportunity to impact the race. But the bizarre thing is, he is on CNN a week or two ago saying that Joe Biden is the greater threat. He's on Dave Rubin's show, who does not appeal to Joe Biden voters. And so, you know.
No, he is pulling from both bases. I think he's pulling from Trump voters and he's pulling from Biden voters. And then just this week, he did also say, and he's claiming in a tweet, basically, that Trump asked him to be his running mate, which you could say is bluster. You could say it's not real, but I immediately got scared because to me,
I will tell you something. From the day he announced, and well, from really when he started doing right, well, that was all I was saying on my show, is that I think that he's going to end up being Trump's VP pick. And I'll tell you something, from Trump's perspective and from Bobby Kennedy's perspective, it makes a lot of sense for both of them. I don't know that anybody in Trump's orbit would want that, because they're not in, you know, they don't want Bobby Kennedy to be this outside source of power in any way. And so he may not be
Bobby Kennedy's there. What's so funny is like VP picks are there to soften some edge that the presidential pick has, that the nominee has. And I love that this area is like, it softens the, like, you know, the anti-vax side, where Trump was like actually responsible for Operation Warp Speed and rolling out the vaccine. And then you've got like Bobby Kennedy in there, you know, endorsing him, you know, or like it smooths over the, like, the drama side, and Kennedy is like a respectable name. And, you know, he seems like he knows what he's talking about, and he speaks like he's talking into a fan all the time. And I know it's actually an illness, but I don't give a shit because I will do this accent. But like, so that to me, I think this love-hate, because there's been back and forth, like, why would we want you? Fuck that. No, we didn't. I think you might be right that it will smooth out and he will end up being the running mate.
I mean, look, the value to Trump is pretty obvious, right? I mean, you go into Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, and you don't need many Democratic votes. And I will say that like, if I had to guess, well, I say this with total confidence. You go into older Black homes or homes with older Black people
without their permission.
If they have a picture of a politician or a white guy in their house, it is guaranteed to be Bobby Kennedy Sr. And he was incredibly popular with African Americans. You know, they would now be older, and it would be, you know, it might be like, I grew up and my folks had a picture of Bobby Kennedy in the house. I mean, he was very, very popular.
Yeah, I did not know that.
You know, name recognition alone in, you know, how many votes do you really need in Wisconsin or in Pennsylvania? I mean, it's been very, very close the past couple of cycles.
Right.
And so, for Trump, it's like, to the extent that we have, you know, any family that could be associated with royalty in this country, would have been the Kennedys. I mean, that luster is definitely worn off. But
Trump Kennedy appeals to the most, like, it's wine o'clock somewhere, fucking jangly bracelets from Talbot's, like, just old money button, you know, fucking that little sector of suburban women. Also, I think, you know, we played a clip not so long ago from CNN. They sort of roll out these women. They get them really drunk and they sort of like roll them out once in a while. And they're like, I don't know. They're like covered in like alpaca claws. And they're like, I don't know who I'd vote for. RFK Jr. Yeah, yeah. And they were all sort of sitting around the fireplace being like, yeah, RFK Jr. Like, who are these people representing?
Well, that's
nobody.
That's the anti-vax sort of woo contingency that I think, you know, that Kennedy may even steal from Trump if he runs against him in certain states. I think, you know, Kennedy's anti-vax bona fides are full on, and so it really, you know, his vice president pick is of that ilk that you're talking about, just a little bit richer, frankly.
And apparently he's also reaching out to the Latino community. He speaks Spanish, habla español, not to brag. And I mean, can you imagine if his voice was perfect when he speaks Spanish? Sorry.
I mean, he got arrested in Vieques.
What? Shut up.
How many years ago was it? I want to say 10, 12 years ago, protesting, maybe more, protesting the use of Vieques as a site where they would drop, where the Air Force or the Army would drop munitions.
Yeah.
And
massive environmental pollution and all that. Gary Cooper on YouTube says, Latino people in my area revere RFK Sr. because he once joined Cesar Chavez on a hunger strike.
Yep.
Yeah. The name brand recognition, damn, that shit is... boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a fucking year we have, Sam. What a year. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.